What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Big Boy John 25. Tonight I'm going to do my WWE Raw review and highlights. You guys new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get started. Monday Night Raw was a pretty good show. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, this week's Raw kicks off with Drew McIntyre. This week's Raw kicks off with the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre coming to the ring. Drew gets down to business and says it doesn't matter what stipulation Dolph Ziggler choose for the honor show, because it will be him. He will be him. So Drew invites Dolph Ziggler to tell us all what it will be. Ziggler comes to the stage and says everybody wants to hear what the stipulation will be, but guess what? It's a secret. That's right, Drew made a mistake in letting him pick the stipulation, and now he won't know until Extreme Rules. McIntyre says it doesn't matter because he's the WWE champion, but Dolph says they can compare or resume if he wants, because Drew has a pretty big gap in it. McIntyre says that he is tired of hearing it. He found his comeback story and he hopes it inspires others. So Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler's promo itself was good. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really care about Dolph Ziggler because Dolph Ziggler is a loser, and I know TM in the comment section is gonna agree with me. So shouts to TM. I give TM what credit's due, because TM is saying the exact same thing on his review of what I just said. But anyway, the promo was fire. So the promo itself was fire. But let me continue reading. Dolph says Drew didn't do it all for himself. He's left plenty of people by wayside, and not just himself. Dolph then introduced someone else. McIntyre left Heath Slater. They fired superstars coming down to the ring with Dolph Ziggler and refused a handshake. He says Drew and him go way back. He remembered when Drew came to America and he was one of the first people to get called up to the main roster. He said he was the chosen one, but they both know he wasn't the guy, wasn't ready. The man standing in the ring today he is the chosen one. Slater he said he was sitting at home and able watching Drew McIntyre Claymore Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Championship. He was so happy it made him cry. Made him cry pure joy for his brother. And Drew knows he loves him, because when McIntyre was fired, he called him to see how he was. They went to dinner together. But where was Drew when he got released? Slater says that last time they spoken was on a bump, and Drew knows his two little girls, his Ashley kids. They believe in him, and he wants McIntyre to know he was there for him. And he says Drew promised him on the bump he will petition to have a match with him. His whole "I got kids" thing wasn't just a gimmick, it was real. This is probably his last shot. He wants Drew to give him what he deserved, what McIntyre promised him. McIntyre doesn't look interested. Slater pushed him and asked him to fight. McIntyre doesn't respond, so Heath Slater slaps him across the face, and Drew says it's on. He's got the fight. Drew McIntyre versus Heath Slater. This match was quick, but this match should have went for another 10 minutes. So Heath Slater punches Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre Claymore kicks Heath Slater, pin him 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre is the winner. Alright, Drew McIntyre stares down Ziggler after the match, then grabs his belt and leaves. Ziggler gets into the ring, berates Heath, shoving him in the face. Heath shoves him down, and Ziggler tackles Slater to punch him. McIntyre runs back down, and Ziggler hightails it. Slater sits on the mat, teary-eyed. McIntyre helps him up, and they hug. Alright, and that's that. Then we see Sarah Scribble interview Sasha Banks and Bayley, talking about what they're gonna do. Against Asuka and at the main event. But anyway, Sasha Banks versus Kairi Sane. This match was pretty good, but the one negative thing, they ended the match by disqualification. That was one negative thing. But the match was pretty good for what it looks of it. This match was pretty good. And it says the winner by disqualification, Kairi Sane. Alright. Oscar runs in to help, but she gets overwhelmed by the tag champs. All three women brawl on the floor until Kairi jumps off the top rope onto them with an insane elbow. We see a replay of last Monday when Seth Rollins beat Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black in a tag match, and then tried to blind Carrillo. The cameras cut backstage, and we see Aleister Black pinned down under some metal rods, wearing a Rey Mysterio mask. Seth and Murphy are there, and Seth says that's a you-know-what shame. Alright, the Viking Raiders are backstage with Big Show. They're talking about their tag team match, and that's that. Then we cut to the Kevin Owens show. He talks about Seth Rollins and Buddy and Murphy. So it is what it is from there. Decent promo by decent promo by Kevin Owens. Decent promo. But anyway, and then it went from the Kevin Owens promo to a tag team match. Seth Rollins and Murphy versus Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio. This match was pretty good. I ain't even gonna lie. This match was pretty good. It says the winners of the match, Rey Mysterio and Kevin Owens. After the match, Rey gets on the microphone and says he has a perfect stipulation for the Honor Show. He says an eye for an eye, is willing to rip Seth's eye out with his bare hands. So this means after Extreme Rules, if Rey Mysterio beats Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio is going to have to put Seth Rollins on the side steps to injure Seth Rollins' eye. You know what I'm saying? I never heard of this eye for an eye match. I never heard of it. But I'm going to give it a chance at Extreme Rules. I'm going to give it a chance. Whether I like it or not, I'm still going to give it a chance. But anyway, Charlie Caruso is interviewing MVP and Bobby Lashley backstage. She starts to talk about Apollo Crews, but Lashley says he crushed him and won't be alone until he loses the United States Championship. MVP says the future for the United States Championship can only be described as balling. Okay, so MVP comes out. MVP and Bobby Lashley comes out. They start talking about the new United States title being revealed. It looks good, way better than the old United States title. But anyway, let me read what MVP says. MVP and Lashley came to the ring. Where is the new belt? Draped in cloth on a red and white and blue table. MVP says that when Cruz came to WWE a while ago, he was shining bright, but he burned out quickly because he passed through their orbit. He says Cruz disrespected him, and by properly he disrespected Lashley, and when he beats Cruz at the Honor Show, he won't be the United States Champion anymore. But he'll have the memories. MVP promised his next U.S. title run will be as good as the first two. Then he reveals the new United States Champion. That belt, the United States Champion looks good. Looks way better than the old United States Champion. Even though it was prestigious anyway. But anyway, he says the new belt is benefits of a legend like him. Lashley, they say, they might as well just make it official. So he crowned MVP the new champ and puts the belt on him. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander came out. Cedric says the belt is prestigious, but MVP should know better than anyone that title are earned, not handed out. Ricochet says that Apollo will be back soon, but MVP hurts their friend, and they're here to make sure that her business goes to 11. They clear the ring as we head to the break. MVP and Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Decent tag team match. The winners of the match, MVP and Bobby Lashley, and that's that. The referee hands MVP his new United States Champion after the match. They pose together. Lashley applies the full nets on Cedric and Cedric, but Ricochet drop kicks him and they retreat, and that's that. All right, let me move on. The Big Show and the Viking Raiders versus Randy Orton, Andrade, and Angel Garza. This 6-man tag team match was boring. It was just boring. I did not really enjoy this 6-man tag team match, but it was just boring. Okay. The winners of the match, Randy Orton, Andrade, and Angel Garza. Alright. The Iconics are backstage with Roy, and Roy says she can't wait to see Kay beat up Ruby Riott tonight. They say her tattoos are ugly and she has no friends. Kay says she says she's such a loser, which is true. Ruby Riott is a loser. Ruby Riott is 0-12. But anyway, Ruby appears behind them and calls them dumb you know what. Ruby says she's never had an issue with them, but hearing their voices makes her neck twitch. Her focus is on them tonight, and when it's all said and done, it's not going to be iconic. It will be tragic. Now, Ruby Riott deserves better for the sake of 2 minutes of their TV time. It's either she goes to AEW or Impact Wrestling, because Ruby Riott needs to lead that company, TM. She needs to lead the company immediately. And I know you're gonna sit there. I know TM's gonna sit there in the comment section and agree with me, because Ruby Riott needs to lead the company, because Ruby Riott deserves better, and that's all I gotta say. MVP is backstage with Cedric Alexander and says he has some questions for him, and he says it takes a lot of heart to stand up to him and Lashley, and he impressed by him. MVP says Cedric is holding himself back by being Ricochet's sidekick. Cedric says he's seeing what MVP is trying to do, divide the conquer. MVP provides why if they were equal partners. Ricochet has a new 365 documentary. Why does he? He says if Cedric is content to be a sidekick, he's going to spend the rest of his career in the canteen watching other people be successful. Okay, so Ric Flair is backstage with Randy Orton running down the accomplishment. His accomplishment, R-Truth runs into Randy Orton and knocks him down. Orton gets in his face. Truth turns to Flair and says he's clear. He's cleans up well for his dirtiest player in the game. Too clean. He knows he's Tozawa before Flair can protest. Tozawa's voice can be heard yelling, so Truth runs off. Tozawa and his ninjas appear and look terrified of Orton. Randy Orton tells them Truth went the opposite way, and they run off. The announcers ponder why Orton might help Truth. Anyway, moving on. Ruby Riott versus Billie Kay. This match was garbage. Do you know why? The reason why I said this match was garbage? Tim, did you see Billie Kay hit the horrible spine buster? That was horrible by Billie Kay. Billie Kay cannot hit a one simple move. That spine buster was terrible. This match was terrible, but Ruby Riott deserved better, and she needs to lead the company, just like I stated earlier. But I didn't really care about this match. It says the match begins and Ruby connects a few punches and Billy Butts runs into a big boot. Kay forced Ruby to corner and choke her with her boot. Kay applies a bow and arrow submission to Ruby, but she fights out into a pin attempt for one. Ruby drills Kay with a right hand and then hits a back elbow and slams Kay into the buckles. Royce calls a distraction, allowing Kay to punch her in the throat and hit a boot to the face. Kay hits a powerbomb for the win. The winner of the match, Billie Kay. I didn't really care about this match, but Ruby Riott deserves better. Charlie is interviewed Bailey and Banks backstage and asks about the challenge put forth by Asuka and Kairi Sane. Sasha says they accept because it makes them realists they never be champions again. Bailey isn't happy, but Banks talks her around and says tonight she will prove to Asuka that she is the best champion in WWE. Then we see Nikki Cross makes her entrance to join the commentator team. Asuka with Kairi Sane versus Bailey. This match was just terrible. But anyway, this champion versus champion gets underway and Asuka drops Bailey with a shoulder. Then tries to take her down with an armbar, but Bailey rolls from the ring. Asuka attempts a baseball slide, but Bailey grabs her feet, spins her around, and knees her in the face. Bailey gets in the face of Nikki Cross and slaps her headset off, leading to Cross getting carried by security guards. Bailey jumps off the apron at Asuka, but eats a knee to the face. Okay, back live, and Asuka slams Bayley, then kicks her in the back. Bayley drops repeatedly forearms to the back of Asuka, then slams her face into the mat. Bayley puts Asuka in the corner and lays some shots, then hits a snap mirror into a sleeper. Asuka starts to fight up, but Bayley slams her back down. Asuka is thrown from the ring. Banks start to get involved, but Sane helps her. Bayley dives through the ropes into a knee from Asuka, back in the ring. Asuka drills the SmackDown champion with a kick and running knee for a near fall. Bayley runs out of the ring and then slides back into to get the upper hand and catapult Asuka into the middle rope, and then again. Bayley sends Asuka out of the ring and slams her into the announcer table. Bayley talks trash with Samoa Joe as we head to commercial break. Okay. Then Bayley is in command of Asuka, and we return going her into the mat. Asuka rallies, but Bayley drops her for a 2 count. Then goes to talk to Banks about tragics. Bayley puts Asuka down and punishes her face into the mat with a forearm. Asuka makes a comeback with a spinning back fist, followed by the code breaker, a drop kick and a knee to the face, following by a running splash from Asuka. The Empress hits a release German suplex, super kick, and a running hip attack for a near fall. Asuka kicks Bayley against the middle rope and then attempts another hip attack, but gets caught by Bayley. A forearm. Bayley runs into a legit spinning back fist from Asuka, right into the forehead. Then Asuka knocks her from the apron to the floor. Asuka attempts a running kick from the apron, but gets caught, and Bayley slams her down. Okay, Asuka kicks Bayley and then hits a missile drop kick from the top rope for a near fall. Asuka gets knocked from the top rope to the floor. Then Bayley drills her with a knee again, the barricade. Bayley puts her back in the ring, but take a minute. The cheap shot, Kyrie, the referee deals with Sane, allowing Banks to hit Asuka, and Bayley lands a side suplex for a near fall. Banks runs over to announcer table and grabs a bottle of water. Bayley takes a drink and then throws it over Asuka. Nikki Cross appears in the crowd, beating the glass, and Bayley backs up. Asuka grabs Bayley and drags her into the ring with the Asuka lock. Banks runs in but gets speared by Kairi Sane. Bayley rolls backwards, but Asuka counters into a roll up for the win. The winner of the match, Asuka. We see a replay of the end of the match. Banks and Bayley retreat up the ramp while Asuka poses with the belt. Next week, the Kabuki Warriors will challenge for the Women's Tag Team Champions, and the show went up there. Ladies and gentlemen, Raw was a good show, for my opinion. It was a good show, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, Ruby Riott deserves way better. It's either she end up going to AEW or Impact Wrestling. I prefer Ruby Riott going to Impact Wrestling instead of AEW, because Ruby Riott fits well with the Impact roster. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed my WWE Raw review and highlights, please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a big fat thumbs up. Comment down below what you guys think of Raw, and I will see you guys in the next video. Big Boy John 25. Peace out.